Hey everyone, this is Anime7, and you all know the drill. We're continuing my top 15 favorite movies of all time, from numbers 10 to 6 in this video. So, let us begin. Starting with the number 10 choice, Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works. Before any of you ask, yes, I realize this movie is flawed, got a ton of problems, pacing is awful, character buildup gets wasted a lot. Despite that though, I do still enjoy this movie. And I do plan, this is one of the many things I got to rewatch in Japanese not too long ago. And if you, like, no matter which version you choose for this movie, you'll be fine. Both versions are serviceable. Though there are times I think the dub is a little bit better than the sub, but that's just my personal taste. Though the sub does have its moments that are better than the dub. Archer's chant from the series. Sorry about that. If you've seen the original series, both in dub and sub, you'll notice the chant was completely fucked up. My god, that was fucking horrible. But yeah, movie's good, and they did fix that in the dub, so thank god. Fingers crossed in the Unlimited Blade Works remake by Ufotable, they have the chant good there too. Alright, moving on to my number 9 choice is Trigun Badlands Rumble. Now, if you're a Trigun fan, if you haven't seen this movie, I recommend checking it out. It's really good. Okay, my only complaint for this movie, although it would essentially be a nitpick, was that in this dub, the only one they were able to get back from the old dub was Johnny Young Bosch to play Bash. Thank God. I'd be sad if he wasn't able to play Bash again, but they were not able to get anyone else from the old dub to play their characters back, which I miss Wolfwood, Meryl, and Millie's old voices. But the voices we have with this one, they're perfectly fine. If you prefer the voices for the characters in this version than the old dub, then you shouldn't have anything to complain about. Personally, Trigun is a series I'd say is better dubbed than subbed. I've seen some of the Japanese version of it, and I think the dub is better. Plus, it's got essentially an Old West type theme, even though it's not technically in the Old West, and some things that do fit in America, so I think it's better dubbed than subbed. Alright, moving on to my number 8 choice is Blue Exorcist, the movie. Now, this movie, like certain anime movies, is mixed among the fan base of the series. Rin is still Rin. For anyone who's not seen this movie and are concerned about Rin, don't worry about that. Rin is still Rin. He's still my favorite character in this movie and series in general, but he's still awesome. Yukio, on the other hand, I'm not gonna lie, he's a complete asshole in this. He gets better near the end of the film, don't get me wrong, but good luck trying to put up with him, especially if you're a Yukio fan. You'll be pretty disappointed by that. Oh. Also, this kid right here, I won't dare say anything about him because that in itself is a spoiler. But I think for most people who see this movie, you might like this kid. I certainly did. In case anyone's wondering, he's male. I thought it was a female at first, but it turns out he's a male. He's a guy. He's a boy. Also, as you can see right there, we have this other guy who's basically standing on the moon. They never specifically say what type of country he was from, but judging from his outfit, I'm assuming he was from China. That's my guess, anyway. He also has a pretty important role in the movie as well, though it's not a humongous big role, but it's a decent role. So yeah. I'm kind of sad most of Rin's friends, as well as Shura. I'm gonna keep quiet right there because I know some people are gonna go, Shura, my waifu. Like her, don't get me wrong, but wouldn't say she's in my top 5. Still like her though. Still sad that her and Rin's friends don't have don't have too big a role to play in this movie, but from what they had to do, it was fine. It was perfectly fine. So, Alexis Sister fucking win. One of my favorites regardless. Alright, moving on to my number 7 choice, we have Wolf Children. This movie means so much to me. Thanks to the Black Critic guy, I found out about Connor, aka Star 6 Wars 1, and again for him, as I've said before, I got to meet Dante. I got to meet Dante and Marvin. So, as you can imagine, I owe quite a lot to this movie. And also, this was the first thing I got in the beginning of 2014, last year. January 4th. Now, this is a really good movie, and if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. I only have one problem with this movie. This kid, on me right here, at a certain point, I just couldn't stand this kid. He was a fucking asshole. And in most Wolf Children reviews I've seen, not a lot of people talk about how much of a jerk Ame turned into later on. I mean, if you like Ame, I don't hold anything against him. If you like him, that's perfectly fine. But as I said, I just cannot stand him at that certain point. I can't say what it is, because that'd be a spoiler. Interesting to know, when I saw this the first time, and again when I rewatched it, it felt like 4 hours passed, but in reality, this movie is nearly 2 hours long. It felt like 4 hours passed. It's pretty interesting. But yeah, if you haven't seen Wolf Children, recommend it. Alright, now for my number 6 choice, and the one who's going to end this video. Etika 7. Good night, sleep tight, young lovers. Yeah, if anyone's going to ask, I have no idea what the title means either, so yeah. Now, going into the rewatch for Etika 7, I'm going to be honest here, when I rewatched Etika 7, I noticed a lot of similarities this had with the anime Monica Magica. Now, I'm not saying Udabuchi or Shimbo ripped off anything from Etika 7 to make Monica Magica. I still think everything in Monica Magica is original, and I always will. I'm just saying that with both Monica and Etika 7, there are some similarities to it. That's all I'm basically trying to get. That's all I'm trying to get across. What I found when I got to this movie, like the first time I saw it back in 2000, yeah, I think it came out in 2010 for the dub. I wasn't a huge fan of it, but after rewatching it a couple more times, I actually really liked it. And, okay, kind of a spoiler, there's a certain scene near the end of it that actually ties in with episode 50, aka the final episode of Etika 7, and in a way, the more I began to think about it, I noticed there were some similarities with both this and Monica Magica Rebellion. I'd like to believe that there is going to be more in the Monica Magica franchise after Rebellion. And basically, both these movies end on a way that, while you do want to see more after this, technically, in a way, it's a bittersweet, satisfying ending. I will talk about this more in a future video. No promises when that's coming out, but there's both Etika 7 and Monica Magica, both the series and the movies for this, have very similar elements to it. And if you disagree with me on that, that's perfectly fine. Not everyone will have the same opinion as me, but that's just how I see it. Alright, so that basically ends part 2 of this video, and I will be getting the final part of this uploaded in quite a bit. So, I will see you all in the finale for this one. So, see you then.